Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Siddhesh Bagwe, your host, and today I'm going to talk about decision making. I got a question for you. It's almost 36 days and we are under lockdown at our homes. Do you think you have effectively used your time for this 36 days? I know a lot of us will be tending to tell me that, hey, I'm working from home, I'm making use of my time, and so on. Think about it, working from home, you're doing an organization task which requires a coordination and a lot of decision making. For that coordination, you are dependent on the continuity of your internet, the internet speed, the availability of your senior authorized person who is going to talk to you, make some changes, and so on. So, all of this basically means taking decisions. And to answer whether you have made an effective use of your time all boils down to decision making. So, what is decision making? Well, the formal definition of decision is choosing the course of action. So, let me just illustrate a little bit more. Decision making actually defines an achiever from the crowd, an anticipator from the procrastinator. We all take decisions at all the time. To give you a small example, our decision making ranges from trivial matters like what should we have for lunch, whether I should have a cold or a hot water bath. From there to life changing decisions like what is my field of study, what is my interest of work, whether I have to get married, what city I should be moving to, and so on. So, talking about decision making is basically can be jotted down into a processes, and they can be two, either an intuitive process or a reasoning process. Sometimes there are complex decision makings which require both intuitions as well as reasoning. Let us talk about intuition. What do you think an intuition is? Well, it's nothing but your gut feeling. It's making decisions based on what you feel or what your gut tells you about. A lot of people nullify stating that a gut feeling is not good for decision making. It doesn't really support any facts or doesn't have any numbers stating your decisions. But hey, I don't accept that. Let me give you a small example. I hope a lot of us must have heard the commencement speech of Steve Jobs at Stanford. All he does is talks about three stories of his life. The very first story talks about joining the arts. He states that he dropped out of the college and dropped in back. He took up a calligraphy class at his Reed College, and then, after almost 10 years down the line, he implemented the art of calligraphy that he learned while making fonts or designing fonts for his new Mac product. I believe he states that we should always be connecting dots, and dots are always connected looking back, not forward. He states the importance that we must all trust in something, that something can be karma, that something can be God, or that something can be destiny or your gut feeling. But somehow your gut always knows what is good for you. Well, let's move on to the second process of reasoning. Reasoning is nothing but taking decisions based on facts and figures. Reasoning involves going out at different sources, collecting data, putting them together, analyzing it, and then coming to a conclusion where we can make an informed decision. And a third point is making complex decisions. Complex decisions are generally tend where we require both intuition as well as reasoning. To give a small example, We can just get started with reasoning, where we go out, collect data, put it down on the table, and while we are analyzing that data, somehow we get a gut feeling about what we should be choosing. It doesn't matter what the conclusion or what the result of the data will be. To give you a small anecdote again, I hope you all must have watched a web series known as Pictures from TVF, and there is a point where the actor Naveen Bansal is actually supposed to take a decision about he should participate in a particular competition of pitching his idea or pitching for his new company, and all he does is basically tossing or flipping a coin. His teammates are pissed off and they really criticize him badly that this is how we are going to decide the future of the company. He gives a beautiful answer. He says, when you're flipping the coin up, somewhere in your mind, you always think that it should be either heads or tail. So that's what basically a gut feeling is. Once you start flipping those coins, after putting down all the reasoning, the facts and figures, somewhere you think that this is what needs to come out, or this is what the outcome should be. So that's about taking complicated decisions using both intuition as well as reasoning. Let me give you some factors that will affect your decision making. First is not enough data. When we talk about some time bound tasks that are critical, and those tasks generally required enough time, but that's what we are lacking. We sometimes lack enough time, and that's when the critical decision making is important. Second, too much of information. Too much of information generally tends to give a various results, and that results in conflicting decisions. Third, a lot of people. Every person have their own interest and values they're practicing, and that's what happens is if there are too many people, decision making becomes difficult, or as they quote in English, too many chefs spoil the broth. The fourth one is vested interest. They say generally the decision making becomes a biased process when the course of action generally weighs under the vested interest of a particular important person or an organization. And the fifth one is getting too emotional. All of us are actually emotionally attached to some habit or something in the world. And decision is actually a process that brings about some change, and change is always difficult in the beginning. So that's about it for my today's video. If you like it, please give me a thumbs up. Please let me know in the comment section what you think about my video. Do subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.